Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're back in the Mazda MX-5, this week at Navarra Medium, and it produces some very interesting racing due to the nature of the track, having very few corners and two very long straights. This makes it an absolute slipstream fest, and bump drafting is very powerful here, whether you're trying to close a gap or pull away. For those who are new here, I'll show my fast lap first and then go through the guided lap, explaining all of my references to help you go faster. If you're only interested in the guided lap, I'll leave timestamps in the description below so you can skip to the specific part you want. These were the session settings in the UI, and the track conditions are shown here. Feel free to pause the video to see a specific setting. Let's get into it. But before we start, I'd really appreciate it if you all subscribe to my channel and like the video. Thank you! Just a quick note before we start the guide, in quali you can take a very wide line through the final corner, which will allow you to carry slightly more speed onto your flying lap. This only gains a small amount of time but can be the difference between positions, so make sure you use it. So, the start-finish straight is one of the main places you want to be overtaking on this track. You want to try to get to the right as you have the inside for turn 1, and can often get the move done very easily. The slipstream is very powerful down here, and you can bump draft, but it is sketchy in the Mazda, so be careful doing this if you're not used to it. The braking for this first complex is very difficult. I brake around 2 cars lengths before the end of the curb on the left. I brake to around 60% initially and then release the brakes, and I get back onto around 50% for the hairpin. I shift down to 3rd gear for the first part, aiming to just miss the sausage curb on the inside. I use 1st gear for rotation through the hairpin. This is the easiest place to lose the car, especially on cold tyres, so be careful on the first lap on the braking, and be more gradual on when you come back on throttle for the exit. I take a late apex and get back on throttle at the curb to get a good exit onto the long straight that comes next. Track limits on the exit is the red and white curb. The exit you get out of this corner really can make or break your lap. This next left hand is flat, don't go too far right as you're just wasting meters, and you can use the curb on the inside. Now this left hand is easily flat, but there are a few things that I do to make it slightly more optimal. I turn at the start of the curb on the right and use all of the inside curb on the left to cut meters. You want to not track out too far either, as it just wastes time. Usually people get good runs through here, so I immediately defend to the right as soon as that turn's done, as they'll look to try and get the inside for this tight right hander. For this right hander there aren't many good references. I brake when the alternate layout on the right begins to leave the screen, or you can alternatively brake around a car's length after the lighter grey tarmac runoff area leaves the screen on the right. I brake to around 75% brake pressure and trail brake into the apex. You can use the curb on the left on the entry to help carry more speed. I aim to just miss the sausage curb and use all of the red and white curb though. I get back on throttle at the inside curb, and the track limit on the exit is the red and white curb. It's best to defend the inside through here as it's difficult to hold it around the outside. It can sometimes work though, so definitely try if you're overtaking, however I would recommend waiting for the start-finish straight. This next left-hander is very easily flat, however I go very far right to make sure that the entry to the next corner isn't compromised. I try to line up my car with the left as soon as possible so that my braking is in a straight line. So for the final corner I brake at the start of the curb to 75% brake pressure. and you can use all of the curb on the left to carry more speed through the corner. I use first gear and trail brake slightly to get the car turned in. I use all of the red and white curb on the inside and get back on throttle here gradually to avoid the rear stepping out on the exit. The track limits on the exit is the red and white curb once again. This exit can make or break a lap as it leads onto the long start-finish straight. You don't actually have to defend this corner, as even if a car does go for a move, the outside line gets a much better exit, so just let them go for it and prepare the exit so you can pull away down the straight. Now you can also take the 1x on the exit as it gains around half a tenth a lap, so it might be worth doing if you don't need any safety rating. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's there if you want to use it. So that was a lap of Navarra medium. As always with this car, the cold tyres are a nightmare on lap 1. For this track, the danger is the first set of corners. It's very easy to lose the car here, even on warm tyres, so be extra careful in the first few laps. If you found this guide helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. You can also now become a channel member if you so wish. And I'll leave it the third person lap to the end of the video.